I'm pretty sure you have heard of this at some point during 2020. People saying, oh, not a lot of movies came out in 2020 and no good movie came out in 2020. Don't listen to those people because they're just not looking. Sure, 2020 wasn't the best year for film, but there are quite a handful of good films that got released. My scorecard of the year is 190, which includes 2 seasons of shows, 2 shorts, 1 stand-up, and 185 featured docs and narrative. Not as many as usual, but close enough, so don't let me ever catch you saying nothing came out. For an unusual year, I got an unusual list, one that I myself wasn't expecting until I put everything together. There are things that I wasn't expecting to ever be on my list, and there are stuff that I was certain were gonna make it but ended up being dropped. Before we start, I haven't seen any of these films yet. As a matter of fact, I'm not even sure if some of them are considered as 2020 films, but they might be really good and have the potential of changing the list. If I catch them in the future and have to change the list, I will put them in the comments. One last thing, I am not counting Tenet in this list because I'm still trying to grasp what Nolan was trying to do here, and I have conflicting thoughts about it, so I need some time for it to sink in. So just so you know, this is my list based on my personal taste, and let's start with the honorable mentions. First, we have First Cow, an excellently helmed film with surreal and precise sound editing. The level of patience and subtleties that is seeping from this film is unmatched. So, another Pixar film that shows it can cast a large demographic and still make everyone happy. It is a film that illuminates themes and lessons the world so desperately needs to learn right now. It is a lot to take in on first viewing. I'm looking forward to future rewatches. Wolfwalkers, another animated film that is incredibly detailed and well designed. There's so much passion behind every stroke of color behind this thing that it went down as one of the most technically impressive and visually stunning animated films of recent years. And Pieces of a Woman, a film that shines a light on an often taboo subject by bringing the audience into the world of a couple who is suffering and grieving. Incredible performances, colors, motifs, and cinematography, though I don't think I can watch this and go through the emotional journey again anytime soon. Okay, let's move on to the top 10 list. Number 10, The Vast of Night. The Vast of Night is an electrifying and spontaneous, low-budget sci-fi that hits exactly what it was trying to aim. It has probably one of the best shots of the year, and the rhythm of its editing is so exhilarating, of which it spans from shots that linger for minutes without cuts to shots that flash before your eyes for just a split second. The filmmakers captured the idea of theater of the mind while paying homage to War of the Worlds, of course, so incredibly well. The film constantly rides the line between being a radio show and a visual medium. Though it's not great in every single way, for what it's worth, The Vast of Night really caught my attention in the past year. Number 9, I'm Your Woman, a film that respects and trusts the audience a lot. It puts a lot on you and believes that you are able to put the puzzle pieces together. The characters sometimes say a minimum amount of words just to get an idea across. It has one of my favorite heroes of the year. She is strong and independent, and her arc feels so satisfying. And at the end of the day, there's something about I'm Your Woman that just draws me to it, whether that be the costume design, the patient editing, the calming piano passage, the repeating patterns with its production design, or the wide lens cinematography. I love the theme, I love the story, I love the hero, and I just really enjoyed this one. Number 8, Possessor. Possessor is not an easy film to watch. Other than the obvious visual violence on screen, the minimalistic production design and sound design really home in on the grotesque aspect of its theme. I really love the way the film tackles issues that can be either swept under the rug easily or potentially become a grander problem in our near future. The idea of free will that was explored in the film makes me think a lot about metadata, method acting both for art and in real life. The idea of showing you the most gruesome parts uncut, I thought, kind of added a lot of color to the film, where it's showing you how ugly things can be while simultaneously challenging your free will, where you are forced to experience things you don't necessarily want to. Number 7, Marona's Fantastic Tale, my favorite animated film of the year. And no, I do not own a dog. As we experience life through the lens of a dog, the filmmakers took that as an advantage to show us just how petty humans seem to be and how fragile our happiness is at times. A dog means very much different things to different people at different times, but what transcends all of them is time and perspective. The animation is doing exactly what I think an animated film should do: take full advantage and push the limit of the medium, which is exactly what it is doing here. Marona's Fantastic Tale is fantastic. Number 6, Ma Rainey's Black Bottom. You all know that I'm a fan of films like this, adapted from a play, a semi-bottle design, two of the best performances, and one of the best ensembles of the year. This one is hard to resist, following a group of African American artists during the late 1920s through mostly two extreme polarizing points of views: an artist who wants that coke and an artist who wants that coke. And Chadwick Boseman, God rest his soul, just gave the single best performance of the year. Number 5, Never, Rarely, Sometimes, Always. If you didn't like it like I did the first time watching it, I would recommend giving it some time and going back and watching it again, because I completely, regretfully, apologetically misunderstood the film the first time. The level of restraint in Eliza Hittman's direction elevated the film above most others in 2020. The language infused in its cinematography makes the most subtle of the subtle scream so much noise, because maybe sometimes it isn't about what's on our minds. Maybe sometimes it's about how we act when we have things on our minds. It's just a very smart piece of filmmaking. Number 4, Kajillionaire, a film that takes me to a happy place like no others in 2020, and I might even argue is a film everyone should probably see. The wide-lens cinematography with some of the weirdest, quirkiest, and most eye-popping visual designs of the year, things that I wonder how the filmmakers even came up with in the first place. Everyone deserves to be loved, and the film explores that through abnormalities, the baggy clothing, the subjective earthquakes, and pink bubbles that bleeds, and it also has one of my favorite quotes of the year. Number 3, One Night in Miami, one of the very few films from 2020 that I had to resist watching again and again and again. Again, it's a semi-bottle impeccably directed by Regina King, which stars one of the best ensembles of the year. I made a video talking about some of the production designs and blocking of the film, because that is what made One Night in Miami stood out technically. Every beat within every piece of dialogue, within every scene, always seems to intensify and lead to something. One Night in Miami is good not because it's simply well made or extremely enjoyable. It's good because it starts as soon as you walk out of it. Number 2, The Assistant. When I first saw The Assistant earlier in the year, I never expected to come even close to a top 10, but yet here we are. It's a film that I described as daring, speaking out about something that seems to be forever silenced in the most passive way. It makes your blood boil. Maybe that's a bit of a hyperbole, but you get the point. It has also another one of my favorite heroes of the year, and it's not just daring on that aspect. It's daring because of its execution, the silence, the docudrama feel, and the fact that it does not pander to anyone, making it a film where nothing much happens, but infinitely watchable. My number 1 film of 2020 is Driveways, a slice of life film as we navigate life through the lens of a single child who doesn't feel like he belongs anywhere. The little details presented show you all these little corners of what we call life, our secrets, our relationships, our regrets, our memories, our joy, and our fears and loneliness. Maybe we don't pass through time, rather it is time that passes through us, and we have the ability to control and shape how we view it. We don't see the world as it is, but as we are, because after all, people say things, but it doesn't matter. Fuck them. Thank you so much for watching this video and following me on another year of film. Here's to another one. Let me know your top 10 of the year in the comments. Let me know what you think of my list. Subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Bye.